Hi guys. So topic for me today is Quadtree and its implementation on maps using D3. So let's get started. My name is Gunasilan Narayanan. You can call me as Guna. I'm a front-end developer in JFrog. I go by the social media ID Nirmal93 Guna on almost all the social media. So you can follow me on Twitter or Medium as well. So before getting into the topics, let me tell you something. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this slide. You can go to jfrog.co/JS Monthly Home Hub, where you can refer to my slides if you want to look in the future. And you can rate my talk. The video will also be posted there. So these are the topics for the day. First, let me explain what is clustering, and then we'll go on to understand what a Quadtree is, and then we'll see how to implement clustering on a map using Quadtree. And then we'll get on with the demo of a JFrog application where we have implemented clustering in our map. And then I'll talk about why we haven't considered all other map APIs available, right? We have a lot of things available, so why not take something which is existing? So yeah, that's the topics for the day. Getting on with clustering of markers. So the right answer is 17. As you see here, the map looked cluttered a little bit, right? So there were a lot of chains available. I just searched for it and it showed everything as a marker, each shop as a marker, and everything was cluttered. What if there are thousands of available, whatever you search for, Starbucks or whatever? What if there are thousands in the map, and how will it look? So it will be like a sea of markers, right? So you don't want it that way. That's why we need clustering, where you can group some things together which are close by, and when you zoom on, it can expand as you wish. So what are the advantages of clustering? It obviously gives you a visual help, because as I said, you don't want to see a lot of markers on the map, and you don't get confused where you're looking at, and you won't basically see the map, I guess, if you're having a lot of markers that covers the map. And one more thing is you can do heat maps with clustering. So currently I showed you about markers, but what if instead of markers, you can change the color of a portion based on the concentration it is getting, right? So if a lot of markers point to a particular location, you can just change the color and show it in a different way. That's how heat maps work. You would have seen that in weather forecasting in many places. And last but not the least, performance improvement. See, each marker in SVG is a node, is a whatever it may be, it will be a node, obviously. So when you have thousands of markers in a small place, it will obviously affect the performance of the browser, because there will be a lot of elements that on the DOM, and it takes up the space and it becomes slow. So that is one help it does. You can, when you clutter, you will have only one marker for a particular group of markers, so that obviously improves your performance. So that is one thing you have to consider when you are doing clustering, right? So this clustering should be based on the zoom level. As you see in this image, or when you're zooming in, it has to calculate again and group the markers accordingly. When it was zoomed out, it was showing 15, but we zoom in, it was going to its own location, right? So that is one important thing to consider, right? So yeah, let's move on to Quadtree. As you all know, Quadtree is a tree data structure algorithm you would have studied in your school or college. So what a tree data structure does is, it has a parent and it has some nodes as child nodes, right? So each parent node is split into 4 in Quadtree. Yeah, obviously guess quad is nothing but 4. So each node will be split into 4. So each parent node will have 4 child nodes. So that's what Quadtree is. And why Quadtree? So Quadtree is nothing but, it is nothing but you are having a space, and you are going to separate it however you want. So when you're going to separate it by 4, it can be manipulated and accessed easily. Let me show you why. Consider this square. So consider the whole square as a parent node, and you're going to split it into 4, right? What happens is each inner square becomes a child. So in the same way, that inner square can be split into 4 and that forms a parent node, and again it goes on. In a circle, you can't do that. If you take a circle and split it, you will always have left out spaces. But when you have a square, it's easy to split into 4 and go on inside. So each level, at each level, you can split it each square into a number of squares, four different squares, and so on. So that's why it's easy to be accessed. So when you have a point on a particular square, it's easily you can access only the parent node, and through that you can easily get to the child node. So I have a code pen where I can show you how this quadtree creates its branches. So consider this as a square. I'm going to put points here, and let's see how the branches or the nodes are formed. So first, let me put one point here. Next one here. Last. So as you see here, we have formed 4 different points. Each one represents one child, right? So the square is split into 4, and we have got 4 different childs now. Let me split this one into 4 more again. Right? As you see here, this one part of the square is again split into 4, and 2 is lying on. If you see, these 2 are lying on a smaller square, and this is on a separate square, and this is on a separate square. So this is how a quadtree algorithm works. Wherever you place the point, it can easily split it into different nodes. So when you're going to search for this particular node, it knows where to look at. It already lies on this part of the square. So you have already eliminated 3 of the nodes. You're going to search only through this particular node. So that's how your search will be streamlined. You don't have to. That's why quadtree does search faster than any other algorithm. So that's it about quadtree. So let's see how we can implement clustering on maps. So that's what this is about. Why I showed you why quadtree is the best choice for clustering or grouping of points. Now let's see how we are going to implement it on the maps. So a map is nothing but a graphical plane which has x, y point. It starts from 0, 0 and goes to x, 0 or y, 0 to x, y, right? It's you have a rectangular square, that's how the graphical plane works. And what you're going to do is D3 has a quadtree API which you can easily use, and you can send the points, just an array of points you can send, that will return back the quadtree structured array. So that's what you're going to do. And then what you're going to do is consider your plane as a big rectangular square and split it into different grids, right? Each grid will be traversed, and you can check whether a point is lying inside a grid or not. Based on the level, based on the zoom level, you will be having the size of the square. And if a point is lying inside the square, you are going to group it. It's that simple. And once you have grouped the points, you can add one marker to it and display it. You can add a number or however you want, heat maps or however you want. So let's see this code here. The data, So the data points is the points on the map that you already have. You're going to pass it to the D3 quadtree API, and this quadtree will have its methods and the points calculated. So what you're going to do is you are going to give this cluster range. The cluster range is nothing but the size. So this will be calculated based on the zoom level. Suppose you're fully zoomed out, the cluster range will be a little big. It will be a bigger number. So a large number of space will be grouped together. And when you're zooming in, this cluster range will reduce. Based on the zoom level, you can reduce the cluster range, and the square will be smaller. So each time when you zoom in, the size of the square will be small, and only the markers that are going inside the square will be grouped together. Width and height is the remaining, or the plane size, the SVG that is available, that is the width and height. It will be calculated automatically. And So whenever a point is lying inside, this quadtree.visit will tell you if a point is lying inside the square. Okay, you just have to pass the details, whatever you get. Based on this, whenever a point is passing inside the particular square, or more than one point is passing inside a particular square, what you can do is you can calculate the middle point. Suppose there are 2 points, you have to calculate the middle point as well to show the marker. You cannot, if you're showing a marker, right, you cannot show it on one place or wherever you want. You can just calculate the middle point easily with the height, edge x and edge y, right? The sizes of the edge x and edge y. With that, you can easily calculate the middle point. So you're going to place the marker on the middle point. Let's get on with the demo. So this is a JFrog platform where we have a dashboard showing a map of all the interconnected JFrog platforms between them. So here is the map which has markers on Buenos Aires, Mountain View, and we have 3 on India, and we have 2 on Israel. So, and we show the status of the platform and how much storage it has used, and replication is concept of duplicating data from one platform to another. So you can even see that status, and the license and the services points to the other products that JFrog comes up with, right? So let me show you how clustering here. So as you can see here, all these points are placed in India. Suppose the square is this big, all those appearing inside, all the markers inside the square placed inside a cluster. So this cluster shows the number 3. And when you hover over it, we show the details, other details, right? So let me zoom in here. As you can see here, when I zoomed in, range of the cluster, range of the grid is reduced. So this marker has already fallen out of the other 2 markers. So it will just go outside. It will go to its own place. Previously, it was in the middle, but now it's fallen apart. So let me zoom in more again, because this has 2 markers. These are also close by, but little far apart. So as you see, when I zoom to the maximum, it has gone to its own place. So the cluster, the range of this marker is different to this marker. So that's why it has fallen apart. There is also one more thing. As you can see here, there are 2 cities, Netanya and Tel Aviv. They are separated by just 30 kilometers, right? So our zoom is like, I have given a zoom level of 8 maximum. So we can't zoom in above 8. So it won't fall apart because it's so close to each other. Since the zoom has already been done, it's always falling under the same square. So it won't fall apart. So that's one thing you have to look for if it is fine by standards or what you're looking at. So that's one thing. So let me tell you why I didn't use any other map APIs and libraries. As you know, there are a lot of very good map APIs, Leaflet, Mapbox, and Google Maps API. They provide a lot of functionalities, even clustering. Yeah, Leaflet, for one thing I know, provides clustering with its API. So why didn't I consider all those map libraries? The first thing is framework granularity. As you know, all these map libraries, they come with their own set of modules that they include. So when you have an application where you are restricted to the number of modules or how heavy your application is, you might have to consider that as well. You cannot use library which, because these have Leaflet, Mapbox, Google API are really complicated. They use a lot of libraries along with it. So that's one thing, it helps. And you are restricted to the APIs available. Suppose if you want to implement something new, and if the APIs don't support it, it will be difficult for you to go ahead, right? If you're doing it on your own, you are bound to your own imagination. You can do whatever you want and however you want. So that advantage you get. And integration with other visualization. So suppose you see an animation library that's trendy and very catchy, so you want to do it in your map, and the APIs that it might not support it. So that's one advantage you have. So basically, if you see our application, it's very simple. The map is not very complicated. It's very simple. I'm not showing a lot of details. Plain map that just shows the markers and some details that we want. So these kind of situations, you don't have to use a library to be specific and involve a lot of complicated stuff. You don't want that. It needs to be simple. So winding up, let me tell you about JFrog Swamp Up. We have a DevOps conference. As I've said, JFrog is a DevOps platform that we provide end-to-end automation and software development. And we have a yearly conference where we have breakout sessions, and a lot of leading companies and front runners in DevOps participate. They have their keynotes as well. You can participate. It's really nice. And the EMEA June is on June 2nd to 3rd. So if you want, you can just Google Swamp Up Meetup JFrog. You will be able to find. So yeah, that's it for me.